Happy Wednesday there, Main Street Baptist Church. I am vertical today because I'm on my cell phone and I'm not doing our midweek pandemonium study. Doing something a little different. I've been preparing for the marriage conference this week, which I am very excited about. Have I told you I'm excited about the marriage conference? I've been meaning to tell you if I haven't. I'm very excited about the marriage conference. Have I also told you that maybe I had a little bit too much coffee today? See, it started out that all we had was decaf. So I had decaf this morning, which obviously didn't do it for me. And so at lunchtime I had to buy, or we got it, we had one in the fridge, but it was an espresso cold drink thing. And so it's doing me well this afternoon. Anyway, I'm very excited about the marriage conference, and I hope you are as well. I have been preparing my message and all the other speakers and getting things in order, and things are falling into place, and it's going to be epic. It's going to be great. I feel like the Lord is really putting something together here for y'all people. And listen, as I'm preparing, I want you to prepare. So I'm just jumping on here real quick to give you some options for how you can prepare for this marriage conference. Maybe you want to start by just taking off your ring and holding it if you're married while you watch the rest of this video. Funny, I actually have a new ring on my way. I was hoping to get it in time for the marriage conference so I could wear it. I don't know if it's going to make it or not. My little sterling silver ring that we bought when we got married finally cracked and broke, and so I've been wearing this little rubber one. But maybe you want to take off your ring and just think about your dear spouse if you are indeed married during the rest of this video. I'm not supposed to take off my ring. Mariana's just terrified I'm going to lose it, but this one's rubber, so it's okay. I can take it off. Anyways, listen, here are some things you can do to prepare for the marriage conference this weekend. This is for all people. First, I think for everyone that is attending, male and female, married or not married, I would love for you to have a quiet time. It's Wednesday, and so that means you've got tomorrow and Friday, or the rest of today, to have a quiet time, specifically in Ephesians chapter 5. If you don't know, Ephesians chapter 5 is the primary teaching on marriage in the New Testament, most extensive passage we have that explains so much about how Christians should think about marriage and why the Lord created it and what it means. And so I'd love for you to have a quiet time at some point between now and the conference out of Ephesians 5. Get your heart and your mind ready for all of the things that we will talk about, so it doesn't feel like a fire hydrant hitting you in the face. This is your warm-up, right? So spend some time in Ephesians 5 if you can. It doesn't have to be a long thing. At least read it. Think about your own marriage and what God has called you to. Write down a few notes. Pray over it. Just spend a little bit of time there. For the married folks, if you are married and you're coming to this conference, whether you've been married for a year or 50 years, I'd love for you to think about your wedding day. Go back to that day when you said I do, when you walked down the aisle, or when you bawled and wept when your wife was walking down the aisle. Go back to that day and try to relive it to the best of your memory. Maybe you want to write down some notes about how you felt that day, what was going through your mind, what you were nervous about, what you were scared of, what you were excited about. Write down a few things that you were feeling, that you were going on during that time in your life. And if you have a wedding DVD or VHS, for some of you folks who have been married a while, if you have it on tape in one way or another, or even just pictures, go back and look at those. Really try to relive it and get your heart fresh and inspired about the ministry of marriage that God has called you to, and what you have committed with your spouse to do, this covenant of marriage. So that's what I want you to do if you're married. If you are a widow, and you plan on coming to this conference this weekend, we would love to have you. We want this to be edifying for you as well. If you have lost a spouse, that is a hard thing to go through, and we know that. We want to be sensitive of that. But we also know that God can still use you. And your understanding of marriage is good and healthy for the church and other married folks as well. So think about your own marriage through the years when you were married. Think about the best memories that you have, some of the strong parts of your marriage, some of the parts that maybe you weren't the most proud of, that needed some improvement. But don't do so to think about the past, because you obviously can't change the past. Do so that you might begin to pray, Lord, how can you use me to strengthen other marriages while I'm still on this earth? Because you have a wealth of wisdom that other people need and would so greatly benefit from. You have gone through losing a spouse, which is an incredibly hard thing to do, and you can help prepare others for that very thing, which we all will inevitably go through, whether it's us or we are the ones losing a spouse ourselves, or we die first, whoever goes first. It's something we need to prepare for. And so think about how you can minister to others who are preparing for marriage and maybe haven't thought much about that in the years to come. If you're single and you plan on coming to this marriage conference, we'd love to have you there as well. That means you might have girls or men nowhere on your radar. You are not dating, have not been interested in dating, or it might mean that you do have a girlfriend or a boyfriend, or you are engaged to be married, some other significant other in your life, in whatever term you have to use. If you're single, I want you to specifically seek the Lord's face before Friday and ask Him specifically, are you calling me to the ministry of marriage? We're not all called to the ministry of marriage. And so we really want to think with clarity and with the Lord's wisdom, if He would have me get married, if He would have you get married, would that be beneficial for His kingdom? Would that glorify Him? Is that a calling that He has placed on your life? And know this, dear single person, if you're not married, your worth is not tied up in the ability to have a wedding ring. Your worth is not tied up in a family unit. Your worth is tied up in Jesus Christ, who is your life, your identity, your righteousness. He and He alone is your worth. He has given Himself for you, and He's given Himself for all of us who call upon His name. Married or not, we are one in the Lord Jesus Christ. So those are a few things that I hope you will be thinking about, mulling over this weekend. Drink a whole lot of coffee on Friday, like I'm going to do, because it's going to be a lot of learning, a lot of teaching, and it's going to be fun. You'll hopefully get to know some other people. Bring your mask. We'll be social distancing and all that good stuff. But I can't wait to see you there, and for the Lord to strengthen marriages at Main Street and the other churches that are involved, and to use the speakers, the different messages they have prepared. Oh, it's going to be a sweet time, and I pray for your marriage to be strengthened, and I pray for the Lord's glory to be received. I love you. You can put your ring back on now. I'll see you Friday.